Hiya, and welcome back to Tennis Ace, the game that teaches us that, Shoichi's face is enough to crash the stream. Twice. I think I might have, I think I might have found the issue. I could be wrong, and I'm probably wrong, but my best guess is, Ethernet isn't working correctly right now, so we have to stream over Wi-Fi. I thought I was streaming over Wi-Fi. It was uploading data to Ethernet and not getting a lot of data back. That's my best guess. Could be something wrong with the drivers. I have no clue. My guess is something to do with network, because whenever network goes bad, everything goes bad. So anyways, let's just hop right in. I wish I was home. As I make my way to the court, I can hear some of the clubmates whispering here and there, most of them sounding really excited for some reason. Yeah. I guess Saya wasn't kidding when she said that people had been looking forward to this match. Damn it. Why do I have such a stupid grin on my face? I'm letting the excited mood permeating the gym affect me. I see that Keikun is waiting for me, having already finished his warm-up routine. Even though he was running around and doing stretches up until now, his clothes still look to be in pristine condition. As he sees me coming over, he flashes a smile. How are you feeling right now? You seemed a little out of it earlier. Did Mizoguchi-senpai give you too much trouble? Even though he was referring to us by our last names while other club members were around, now that we're out of earshot of other people, he's back to calling us by our first names. Which is great, because I hate the excessive deference people treat me with just because I happen to be a bit older. Age is just a number after all. Sorry, I was still half asleep earlier. Saya gave me one hell of a kick to the shin though, so that jolted me awake. He seems almost amused hearing it. He's been exposed to Saya for too long. He's not even batting an eye to random acts of violence. This one has already been corrupted by us. As long as you're not limping, it should be fine. I'd be wary of angering her again though. I'll say, feels like I've had a few years knocked off of my life expectancy. Saya is one scary girl when she's angry. He laughs at my remark, his normally deep voice carrying softly through the air. He's pretty subdued most of the time, but I guess there's a certain... shit. Hang on. Do I have... Oh, yeah. Because I was, trying to find it earlier. He's pretty subdued most of the time, but I guess there's a certain air of refinement to him. Almost as if he wasn't just some average high school student. Well, since we'll be playing only one set, stamina won't be much of a problem. How about we go at each other's guns blazing from the start? Sounds good to me. How do we decide who gets the first serve? Should we just flip a coin? If it's okay with you, I'd like for you to take the first serve. I know it's usually your preference, and I'd like to give it a try. Sure, if you're really okay with it. I am. I think it'll be a great opportunity for me to try out a new strategy I've come up with. Now, if you don't mind, I'll stay with this side of the court. Shall we get started? I nod, wishing him good luck and heading over to my side of the court. What's with him willingly giving me the first serve? He's totally underestimating me, isn't he? I walk over to my starting position and one of the freshmen hands me 2 balls. I guess Saya's roped them into being our ball boys for this match, huh? I take a few deep breaths to steady myself. Once I walk onto the court, I shouldn't focus on anything but my opponent. It doesn't matter if it's a tournament match or an exhibition match. It's all still tennis in the end. And I refuse to give anything less than my all when it comes to tennis. I'm just going to go ahead and save right here. The anxiety is real. I throw my ball into the air, moving my body as quickly as I can with a whip-like motion to hit the ball at the peak of the toss. It goes past the net and hits close to the line, a powerful flat serve that goes wide. The ball bounces quickly and swiftly, sliding past Keikun's reach. Or at least it should have. With a swift motion, he dashes to the ball and returns it, though not perfectly. Oh my god, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. We do. The ball doesn't go very deep and doesn't have much power behind it. If it's like this, I can handle it easily. Yay! Welcome. I reach the ball and counter it, putting as much force as I possibly can without sending it flying out of the court. The ball goes to the opposite side of the court as Keikun is standing in right now, hitting the ground and bouncing away before he even starts running again. 15-0. Keikun looks down at the skid mark left on the floor by the ball, whistling in admiration. Seeing his surprise definitely makes me smile a little. The freshmen all start talking loudly and excitedly after seeing the last rally. Shut up! Hang on. Shut up! Saya easily solves that problem by using her usual sunny disposition. The only problem is she almost gave me a heart attack. Looking over at Keikun, I notice him standing completely frozen, eyes wide as he stares at Saya. She quickly notices his gaze and laughs nervously. Please continue. Well, at least she regains her composure quite fast. We both walk back to our positions, Keikun taking just a bit longer to compose himself again. After knowing us for a full year, I'm surprised he's not used to Saya's personality yet. I take a moment to bask in this atmosphere. Even if I hesitated to be here right now, I have to admit that being on the court is the best feeling ever. Once more, I shoot a flat shot aiming for the lines. Keikun dashes to the ball and, although he reaches it, returns the ball into the net. 30-0. Keikun stares at me with a troubled look on his face. Guess he just isn't used to a truly fast serve. There aren't many players with a lot of raw power around for him to practice against, so it's no surprise he's still not used to playing against me. Guess that's one benefit to me not playing against him often. I repeat the same strategy once more. A flat ball with lots of power is what I excel at. Although he gets to the ball with relative ease, he misjudges the timing. His return ends up going too long and flies out of the court by quite a bit. Out. 40-0. I can't keep myself from grinning like an idiot. I just might be a little bit of a sadist, because crushing on an opponent always feels so satisfying. I never get sick of it. Keikun probably thought he could come up with some strategy to break my serve and ask me to serve first so he could attack and mess with my head. He probably thought by breaking my serve, he'd also break my concentration. Instead, it seems the spell has been turned against its user. Game. Michimiya. Game count 3-0. Michimiya Yeeds. The small crowd that's gathered around our court starts to cheer loudly once more. I just wish these guys would shut up. This is way too distracting. As for Keikun, he seems largely out of it since the end of the first game. I guess the shock of seeing his strategy failing so catastrophically has broken his concentration. Yeeds? What the hell is going on with the microphone? What the hell is going on with it? Let's just lower that. Okay, we're good. He's completely abandoned his tactics and fine skills in favor of a brute force approach. Tennis is a sport where your mind is just as important as your body. Yeeds. If you start thinking too much about losing, your fear will cause your body to panic. Your body won't move as normally as it does, and without noticing, your play becomes affected. Because of that, I managed to easily break through his serve game, and that created a downward spiral. The more he's dominated, the more he fears an eventual defeat, causing his play to worsen further and making him feel even more dominated. It's a feedback loop that you can't escape from unless you notice that you're in it in the first place, and even then, it's no small feat. Professional players struggle with this type of thing. For a high school student, this is a monumental beast all on its own. I'm usually all in favor of rest breaks, but right now I wish you could play the whole match without stopping. Not because I'd like to, but because I don't want Keikun to have time to calm down. It might be a shitty thing to say, but I hope he stays in this slump all the way to the end of the match. Time. Well, no point dwelling in it. I'll just get back to the court and try to get this match done as fast as I can. Ha! This is exactly what I was hoping wouldn't happen. His eyes seem much more focused right now. I guess this small break gave him enough time to get himself back together. I really can't afford to let my guard down. Keisuke tosses the ball high into the air, making contact with it just as it begins to drop again. There's no doubt about it that his serve has gone back to normal. I guess there's no more weakness for me to exploit. The good things in life are always short-lived, after all. The ball soars over the net, making contact with the ground deep onto the court. I managed to reach the ball and send it back, but I lost my balance for a second and got a late start on my subsequent dash. Just as I take a couple of steps toward the center of the court, Keikun immediately sends a powerful shot to the side I had been on. Not having enough time to regain my balance, attempting to change direction again makes me trip. The ball slides through the floor, bouncing again on a sideways arch. I somehow managed to reach this shot, but because it stays too close to the ground, I can't make a full swing and end up lacking power. This is likely what he was going for. Keisuke. Oh. Oh, okay. It seems Keikun has decided to counter my attack, which is admittedly a rather annoying strategy. Right after I return the ball to the other side of the court, he, again, shoots it to the other side of the court to make me run. If this were 3 or even a full set match, I would be seriously worried about my stamina. In a flash, Keikun has identified the shots I most struggle against and the ones I most want to hit. By doing that... Oh, okay. By doing that, he is aggressively looking to keep his serve by chipping away at me until he can go for a winner. This style of tennis that emphasizes a wide variation of shots and a delicate touch is his specialty. It's thanks to this that Keikun managed to overcome his average constitution, becoming a well-known player in our region. Still, he has yet to make a breakthrough when it comes to the national competitions. Since I can't fall into a comfortable pace, I end up not being able to hit the ball as I want to, and, as such, can't put away a winner. I continue to struggle with the rally until Keisuke eventually runs me out of the point. Keisuke continues to use the same strategy for the remainder of the game. I'm only able to score a single point before he wins. We promptly start the 5th game. Oh no. This time I have to try and hit my best possible serve to keep myself on the lead during my service game. While I fully expect myself to have the advantage on my serve, I still don't want to be caught up on a long rally against him. I don't have that much stamina. I go for a strong, flat serve to the center of the court. Although it's high risk, the ball makes it right on the edge of the court, painting the line. Despite that, Keikun reaches it, returning a deep ball with tons of topspin. Using the advantage given to me by my serve game, I quickly return a strong, flat shot to the other side of the court. The speed of the shot doesn't give him time to ready his next swing. If he doesn't have much time to prepare, he can't send a very precise shot. He ends up lightly tapping it to my side of the court. I rush over to it and strike with everything I have, putting away an easy winner. 15-0. Keikun looks somewhat angry. I see him muttering something to himself before he gets back into position. This is the main reason I avoided playing against him for so long. Keikun falls in the category of tactical players. He is constantly running simulations and thinking up different strategies to deal with any problems he might face. Oh, I'm supposed to be saying that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know tennis. I don't understand tennis. Ordinarily, when faced with a huge hurdle, a player like myself would attempt to find an answer through trial and error. A player like Keisuke, though, is constantly analyzing the shifts and pattern. Because of that, he can shift into an answer almost instantly. Oh, he's angry. I'm forced to keep changing up slots far too often in an attempt to throw him off. In the end, I'm not truly forcing my way through. I'm just taking a detour that forces me to spend extra energy. I just hate having to deal with any wall that my power can't break through. Because I am forced to constantly think and look for alternatives, the strain of having to sustain such a degree of concentration while keeping up my usual high-paced game makes me tired faster than usual. Still, I can't just shoot blindly, otherwise he will eventually find a way to shut me out. I decided to change up my serves a little bit by adding a few spin shots to my serves, which are usually all flat anyway. I can throw them off for a while. I try putting as much power as I can into the spin shot, though the ball is significantly slower than before. Crap, I'm not too good at using spin. Honestly, same. Like, I don't understand tennis, so thank God for the visuals. Because of the way a player grips his racket and the hand he uses to hold it, the ball tends to naturally spin into one direction. Yeah, I probably should. That's one of the reasons left-handed players are favored in the game, since there aren't many of them and players tend to have already ingrained their reactions to different shots. Any difference, no matter how small, can throw them off. Thank God. Most players capitalize on this natural spin, hitting spin shots that make the ball slide in that direction. Since hitting a spin shot to the opposite direction makes it so the ball doesn't slide so much to the side, it tends to not be as favored. But because it isn't as favored, it becomes unexpected, and I use this to catch Keikun by surprise. He reads my serve and rushes into a position to return, but because the ball doesn't escape as far to the side as he expects it, he ends up hitting the ball too close to the grip of the racket. His return is shallow, leaving me an opportunity to attack. 30 love. I think I got that right. I don't know. Keikun looks just about ready to throw his racket on the floor. He's gripping it so tight that his hands are shaking. I'm not exactly happy to see him like this, but I just had to bury those thoughts for now. He's my friend, but when we're on the court, I can't show sympathy. This time I go with the wide slice. Once again, since I'm serving the ball to a direction opposite of its spin, instead of sliding away from the court, it angles itself back in. The awkward angle of the shot causes Keikun to hit another weak return, which I easily put away. 40 love. The freshmen all chat excitedly while they watch the match. There are so many voices at the same time that I can barely even make out what they're saying. Well, not that I'm trying to anyway. Keikun seems like he can't even notice them, not reacting at all to their voices. That guy's concentration is on a whole other level, and that's already scary enough by itself. I ready myself for another serve. I take advantage of the indecision my past two serves created and hit a strong topspin shot wide. Keikun is caught by surprise, having tried to anticipate my serve. He ran towards the center but had to double back immediately. Because he can't reach the ball, I score a service ace to take the game. The freshmen erupt in cheers before being reprimanded by the other club members. It is game Michimiya. Game count 4-1. Michimiya leads. We take another break. I slide into my seat to rest for a bit, uncapping my bottle of water and taking a quick sip. When I glance over at Keikun on the side, he has a really intense look on his face. He might look like the meek, silent type, but he really gets fired up when it comes to tennis, huh? He mutters something to himself that I can't really make out, sweat rolling down his face and dripping from his matted fur. He's wiping his face using the hem of his shirt. Why isn't he going for a towel inside his bag? I really don't understand. One thing I will say is that for someone who looks so lithe and somewhat fragile, Keikun is surprisingly well built underneath his clothes. You can quickly tell just how much effort he put into nurturing and caring for his body. Even for someone who doesn't seem to be naturally very athletic, he managed to build himself to a point where he doesn't have even a little bit of excess muscle anywhere. It's something to marvel at, really. Even I probably am a little bit thicker on the muscle mass than I should be. Never, ever trust Twitch moderation. I swear to God, that's why I haven't applied to affiliate yet. Saleo PTSD. If you know, you know. I've been flashed so many times in that game. I should be used to it, but I'm not. I will never be used to it. Yeah. Time. We both get up from our chairs at the same time. Yeah. If I want to end this match as soon as possible, then my goal should be to break his serve. I've had enough time to get used to his tricky style. Not only that, he feels like he's slipping. He's getting impatient, and that shows. I should use that to my advantage to break his serve. We both get to our positions. Keikun sends the ball high before striking it, hitting a strong flat serve to the center of the court. I was already expecting him to do something like that. People tend to put too much force on the shot when they're angry, whilst ignoring spin and placement. Yeah, it was awful. Like, fucking Diego. Fucking Diego barely covering himself up with the fucking pizza box. It's awful. It's a good game. Very good game. I love it, but, ugh. Having gotten to the ball a lot earlier, I have ample time to prepare, hitting my strongest shot back at him. The ball hits the ground and bounces away from his reach, scoring me a return ace. It seems with each passing moment, Keikun becomes more and more agitated. He should really try to calm down. Playing like this is only going to drag him down further. Love 15. Did I say that right? I don't know if I did. Well, it can't be helped. If he's not trying to help himself, there isn't anything I can do to help him. And to be honest, I feel that he'd fly off the rails if I did try. Keikun takes a while to get into position. He starts tying his shoes repeatedly, probably trying to calm himself down. Well, he definitely looks to have calmed down a bit. Yeah. He serves the ball again, shooting a sliced serve towards the center. If it weren't for the spin on the ball, that would probably be a body shot. As soon as the ball gets close, I sidestep it and hit an angled shot to the side of the court. The ball practically paints the line, bouncing very high from all the topspin I put on it. I really have to be more careful with my spin shots. They're barely going in right now. I might actually make a mistake if I keep going like this. Keikun reaches it and effortlessly hits it back at me with another slice, going right at the center of the court. I hit it back with as much power as I can whilst aiming cross court, but can't get good contact with the ball and it ends up hitting the upper part of the net. We are both taken by surprise. The ball topples down to Keikun's side of the court. He dashes over to the net in an attempt to reach it, but ends up being too late. Love 30. Sorry about that. I apologize. This is the proper thing to do. It's fine. He nearly spits those words out. That's how angry he is right now. I'm sure he doesn't blame me for it, but it's hard to keep your feelings in check when you're under pressure. Keikun serves a strong flat, this time aiming wide. I dash towards the ball and hit it back, but since I can't get to a good position, the ball ends up being too weak. He's an angry twink. Keikun reaches it and puts it away in an instant. 15-30. My return was pretty terrible, so there wasn't anything I could do. Keisuke might not look like it, but he's certainly a high-level player. If I give him any openings, he'll certainly go for them in an instant. I'm saving. I'm going to save real quick. Keikun serves once again. This time I have a much easier time reaching it. I return an angled shot that hits the ground before the service line and bounces away from the court. Keikun is caught by surprise and has to rush to the ball. Right after striking, he runs up to the net, probably to try and restrict the angle of my return. But I'm one step ahead of him. Right as he reaches the net, I lob the ball high over his head. He immediately starts running back and I don't doubt for a second that he will reach. He manages to hit the ball at the last second, barely putting any power to it as the ball bounces a few centimeters away from the net. I reach it before its first bounce, and right after it goes high again, I hit it with a drop shot. Since it dropped the ball while being so close to the net, there's barely any power left in it. Keikun doesn't even make it to the service line before it double bounces. The first years erupt in cheers, and I'm pretty sure some of the second and third years joined them in it. I said shut up! Well, she certainly has a way of handling the crowd. That way is fear. 15-40. It seems that the pressure is starting to get to him. His face is a completely open book. No matter how he looks at it, I've been dominating him on a service game, and he can't do a thing about it. Right now, he would have to score twice in a row just to get us to deuce. I definitely hold the advantage here. Expect that with if honesty, everyone helps post what? He serves the ball again, but just like his first serve of this game, he was so anxious to finish things fast that he got predictable. I easily anticipate it and put the ball away with a return ace. Game Michimiya, game count 5-1, Michimiya leads. Leads! My brain! As if he had lost all the drive that fueled him so far, Keisuke's shoulders sag. I don't blame him for being... fuck! I don't blame him for being discouraged, but right now he looks as if he's already been defeated. What happened to try your best until the end? What's the point of continuing to play when you've already given up? I'm starting to get angry because of his attitude. I'll just finish this soon so we can both stop this miserable match. Game, set, and match won by Michimiya. Count 6-1. Sai has barely finished announcing the score and Keisuke has already walked out of the court, stuffing his racket back into his bag and slipping away with it. Sai doesn't miss a beat, getting down from his seat and walking after him in a rush. Tennis players really have glass hearts sometimes. A little crowd of freshmen gathers around me, showering me with praise and admiration, and using this as an opportunity to ask for tips. I make no effort to listen, walking towards the locker room. I just want to rest. I don't care. Hi, bitch. And right there, standing in front of the door, is Shoichi. Truly. Why does my brain do this? Man, you're heartless. Don't you know how to go easy on people? It's good to do it every now and then. Damn it, Shoichi! Quit crashing the fucking stream. Sure, then I'd have him getting mad at me for underestimating him. He shrugs. The cheering over here was so loud that we could hear it from our side of the building. Coach asked me to come over and see what the fuss was about. Although I ended up sticking around to watch you play. You sure are carefree with your duties, huh? I enjoy watching you play. Why are you so surprised? I have to ask, though, why didn't you tell me you'd be playing against Urushihara? Saya didn't tell me. She decided to keep it a secret until the last minute because I was, as she says it, a flight risk. Ah! That sounds about right. Hey! Sorry, but I think she's right. I imagine you'd have gone home the first chance you got if you knew about this. After all, you've been talking about how annoying it is to play against Urushihara since you first watched him practice. That's only partly true. Oh, really? What part of what I said was wrong? Shut up. As easy to rile up as usual. Oh, right, I nearly forgot. Here. Shoichi hands me a can. I can see beads of condensation rolling down from it. It must be really cold. I picked up an energy drink for you. Figured you'd want one after the match. I know orange is your favorite, so I picked that one. Oh, thanks. You're a real lifesaver. I immediately start drinking it down without a care in the world. In just a few seconds, the entire can has already been emptied. Wow. Were you really that thirsty? Oh god, is it? You have no idea. Without a warning, Shoichi puts a hand on my head and begins to casually pet me. I don't even notice that what he's doing. Notice that's what he's doing until he's already started. At which point I'm so shocked by his complete lack of self-consciousness about the whole thing. If there's one thing that needs to be said about him, it's that he's a very touchy-feely kind of guy. Myself, Saya, his sister, and even Keisuke, on the rare occasion they're not going at each other's throats, have already been made victims to this. It wouldn't be half bad if he kept these things to private places either, but somehow he always tries to pull them off in public. As soon as I snapped back to reality, I slap his hand away from my head, just as soon as he had begun tugging on my ears. Aww, no fun. Jeez. You'd figure I killed his pet from the way he just reacted. It's not even like I minded in the first place. I just don't like when he pulls this sort of stunt in public. Well, what can you do? For some reason, he seems to find my rejection funny. I don't like being messed with in public. You know that. Sorry. I'll try to refrain from doing it again. That's a lie. By the way, what did you think of Urushihara? This was the first time you've played against him since the prefectural tournaments last year, wasn't it? I turn around to look for Keikun, but can't seem to find him. I don't know. He's a good player. I'll give him that, but I don't think he's ready for a major competition just yet. He'd probably get destroyed by the higher ranking players. Didn't he lose on the first round at last year's national tournament? Yeah, that's exactly what I mean by it. I suppose you're right. I kind of feel bad about him, though. What Shoichi is talking about is last year's All-Japan Junior Tournament, the most important tournament in Japan for tennis players under the age of 18. Keisuke managed to qualify for it last year. Unfortunately for him, though, he got matched up against the number 4 player on the first round and lost without taking a single set. Competition for that event is brutal. I myself got all the way to the finals, but lost to Takagi Tanabe, the number 1 player in the national rank. Urushihara sure got unlucky, huh? I nod, pursing my lips. These sort of things happens every now and then. If you want to be safe and have an easier time on the first rounds, you need to be a seeded player. Keikun is gonna have to try and get a seed ranking this year. That's pretty much the only thing he can do. What would he need to do to become seeded? Considering his current rank, he'd have to win at the Saitama Prefecture. Considering his current rank, he'd have to win at the Saitama Prefecture tournament and then place in the top 4 for the Kanto tournament. And since we know for a fact he's not going to win the Prefectural, where should he finish on the regional to get a seed? Second place. Shoichi whistles in admiration. Urushihara is pretty much screwed, huh? Just goes to show, being number 2 in Saitama doesn't really mean much. The competition here is pretty light compared to other areas of the country. Yeah, that's true. Right now, Tokyo and Hokkaido have the highest concentration of high-ranked players. Saitama is somewhere in the lower end of the rankings. You're probably the only reason Saitama isn't dead last. I wouldn't go that far. I honestly don't think the level of players in our area has fallen. I think the competition has just improved a lot. What do you mean? I mean that the current generation is probably much stronger than the last ones. Back when I was still a freshman in high school, I'd routinely beat juniors and seniors. It was against the other freshmen that I struggled. Huh, I never really thought of it like that. Kinda sucks when you're trying to go pro and have a hard time standing out. Not that you're having a problem like that, of course. You already stand out plenty. Ah, yes, Shoichi is one of the few people I've told my desire to go pro. So far, I've only told my family, my coach, and a few close friends. Of course, most of the people involved in the tennis scene already expect me to go pro, so it's not like there's much of a difference. But even at the risk of sounding superstitious, I'm afraid that if I tell many people, I'll end up jinxing it. What about you? Have you decided when you're going to go pro yet? I already told you I'm not. Have you ever mentioned that that's a stupid idea? Yes, many times. Too many, in fact. Ugh. He's too stubborn. Shoichi is one of the best volleyball players in the country, and yet he refuses to even consider the possibility of becoming a professional player. It's just so much wasted potential. I can already tell what you're thinking, so I'll just stop you right there. I'm not in the mood to have another discussion on me becoming a professional. Ugh. Why not? Instead, I'd rather talk about something a little more important. Oh? Like what? He really knows how to rope me into changing the subject of conversation. Using my curiosity against me. Your progress, or lack thereof. I honestly don't see much improvement at all from last year. What happened to you? I was thinking the same thing. I throw the now empty can of sports drink into the nearby trash, where it falls inside with a satisfying clink. I know I ask this a lot, but are you okay? Are you sure you're not going through any trouble? I'm fine, big guy. I guess I'm just not putting in enough work, that's all. I'm honestly not as convinced of the truth of my words as I might sound. Just thinking about some of the guys I'll have to face again this year almost invokes a feeling of dread. Hopefully this year you'll be able to turn things around. Tanabe isn't invincible. I'm sure you can beat him if you try hard enough. I'm not so sure of that either. Yeah, I suppose. How about we cut this conversation here, though? I'd rather not think about all of this stuff right now. Sure thing. In that case, how about you get into the locker room and at least tell yourself off? No offense, but you're smelling kind of ripe. He says that with the most innocent smile in the world, even though he was definitely taking a jab at me to tease me. I'm just going to pull up the sensor because I don't trust him. I do not trust him one bit. Wow. Thanks for the delicacy on the matter. Alright, I'll rephrase that. Dude. You fucking stink. Don't you ever fucking shower? Never mind. Shoichi stands there grinning like an idiot, his tail wagging left and right. I have to give him props for being able to be so cheery about everything. Heading into the locker room, I notice that it's mostly empty save for 2 members of the volleyball club. The only reason I can even tell who they are is because they have team shirts on them. Tomita, Ayano, the locker room isn't a break room. Stop slacking off and get back to practice. The 2 look at Shoichi with a scared look before dashing away and back into the volleyball courts. Aren't you slacking off too? They don't need to know that. Demon. Shoichi flicks me in the forehead, sending a small jolt over my entire body. What was that for? You think too loud. I can tell that you're thinking bad things of me just by the look on your face. Am I really that transparent? To me, you are. I don't think this is something to be happy about. You don't have to wait around for me to leave. But it's more fun this way. As always, I can't understand what goes on in his head. You're just staying around because you want to get a private show, aren't you? Shoichi chuckles, leaning his back against a nearby locker. Pfft, I wish, but I know the mere thought of getting changed in a public locker already makes you squeamish. What? No, it doesn't. I do it all the time, you know. It does. It makes me so squeamish. Oh, hiya. But I died before admitting to that. Jeez, you're sighing and pouting so much. Shouldn't you be happier that you just got a victory? You're making too much fuss out of something minor. It was just a practice match after all. Oh, please. Both are just as important to you. You always say that, remember? I guess. You're being too negative here. Look on the bright side. Now that you know that you can easily beat Urushihara in an official match, isn't it great? Oh, I read that wrong. I wouldn't go that far. I was lucky that I managed to do so well today. I wouldn't bet my chips on it happening again. Keikun might not be as skilled, but his tricky silent strategies can corner you if you're not careful. Suddenly, the sound of metal banging on metal echoes through the locker, catching us both by surprise. You're still wearing pants. I'm still going to keep the sensor up, though. We both turn around to see Keisuke staring at us with his face that spells out impending doom. I don't think I've ever seen him this mad before. Oh, Urushihara. It's just you. I was afraid someone fell into a locker or something. You can't do this, you know. You've got to respect school property. I'm asking myself the same question. When the hell did he get here? Did he pass by us while we were talking and we didn't notice? I know for a fact that he wasn't here when we walked into the room. On a scale from 1 to 10, my friends were fucked. Although from the look in Shoichi's eyes, I can already tell that he knew Keikun was here and said those things on purpose. Yeah, you can. I'm sorry. In hindsight, I should have seen this one coming. Shoichi isn't the type to make light of a person's skills, so I should have imagined he was plotting. So I'm going to pull the sensor down. I think we're safe. I'm 93% sure that we're safe. I'm sorry if I made such a poor opponent. I'll try to do better next time, Your Highness. Don't be silly. We both know such a thing would be impossible. Oh boy, are these two going to go at it again? These two seem to look for every opportunity to take a jab at each other. I don't know how these two manage to be friends when they behave so poorly around each other. Okay. Oh, really? And what exactly do you mean by that? I feel like I shouldn't be so calm in a situation like this. But then again, I've already seen this happen so many times that I feel like I've become jaded. I want to go home and be done with this. I mean, come on, this is Yuichi we're talking about. You might be good, but you can't possibly think you could compare, right? Now that would just be crazy. Why do I get the feeling that I've turned into a babysitter over the past year? Which one? Oh, so we're just going to let them continue to fight? Okay. Oh well, it's not my problem anyway. I don't care if they wind up killing each other. Plus, it'd be less trouble for me down the line if they did anyway. Yep, I'll just let them be. Let's see, well, they're not looking my way anyway. I guess it's safe for me to strip down for a bit. It feels so good taking off those sweaty clothes. Though I'll keep my underwear on, thank you very much. Good thing I got an extra absorbent towel. Still, these are loud. Even though I'm trying to tune them out, I can't keep myself from hearing them arguing. Not that I can make any of what they are saying out, though. Let's see, where's my deodorant spray? Ah, found it. My trusty partner. I'll never leave the house. I'll never leave the house without you. You're the only reason I can get by after practice without needing a shower at school after all. They don't seem to have noticed me yet. These two really do shut themselves off from the rest of the world when they get going, don't they? They're all done and dressed back up. And they're none the wiser to it, just as it should be. I guess they wouldn't notice if I just left, would they? I planned on letting Saya know that I'd head home early, but if I don't leave now, I'll lose my chance of slipping away before they notice me. Oh, fuck. Saya-chan, I'm sorry. I promise to make it up to you later. I grab my bag and head towards the exit. Just then, the sound of an even louder voice catches my attention. It's Shoichi's voice. Fine. Let's ask him then. Him? Please don't let him be me. Please don't let it be me. Yuichi! Yuichi! Yuichi-san! Damn it. What? Who's the best player? What? Pixantris? No, we're not talking about the best tennis player in history. We're talking about which of us is the best player. Please settle this argument. What? What? You two are going to need to give me a little more context here. Who's the best player at what exactly? No, which one of us is the better player in general? Am I a better tennis player than he is a volleyball player? You do know there's no easy way to compare, right? It's two completely different sports and do your best. But I never agreed to this in the first place. Aren't you guys being a little silly? What's the point of even... Whoa, they look scary. Do I really want to say no to them when they're looking at me like that? I feel like a little puppy put face to face with two wild beasts. Sighing, I decided to give this some actual thought. If only so they won't be able to whine later that I didn't even think before answering. Maybe if I sound like I'm not talking out of my ass, they'll accept the answer and they'll leave me alone. I guess it's the best route I can go for right now. I probably should have stopped them when I had the chance, huh? Hiya. But how am I even supposed to compare the two? They're both accomplished players in their own fields. Keisuke plays tennis. His playstyle is that of a defensive baseliner. He studies his opponents and comes up with strategies to attack their weaknesses. He's also fairly skilled at a multitude of different shots and has lots of different attack patterns to confuse his opponents. If I had to say, I'd say that Keisuke is definitely a player I would keep my eye on in the future. He's not fully developed yet, but he has tons of untapped potential. Now, Shoichi, I don't know much about volleyball, so I can't really say. I don't understand volleyball strategy at all. Shoichi made me play with him ever since we were little, but the only thing I know how to do is spike. I don't understand things like rotations, substitutions, or liberos, and... just thinking about that complicated stuff has already made my brain overheating. But I know for a fact that Shoichi is one of the best players in Japan. No. Not only on his position, but he's overall considered one of the top 10 in the country. Shoichi plays as a setter. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he's the team's control tower. He's the one deciding which attacks to pull off at any given moment, not to mention who gets the ball, where, when, and where. He's the one always calling the shots. If I compare their individual achievements in their fields, Shoichi definitely comes out way ahead. But if I compare their skills based on my knowledge of their sports, I can't really give a fair evaluation. As far as I know, Keisuke is definitely high level. I can't choose! They're both staring at me with scary faces, so I don't want to take much longer to come up with an answer. Well, if I think about it, Shoichi really would be the logical answer, but... I don't know. I guess I have to go with Shoichi. Just then, I see both of them going wide-eyed. Huh? Keikun looks completely taken aback by my answer. I guess you really expected me to pick him? You're kidding, right? Yuichi-san, you see me practice every day. How can you say that this brute is better than me? Brute? I may be strong, but I'll have you know that when I'm on the court, I rely on skill, not strength. It's true. Shoichi might not look it, but he's actually incredibly skilled. His tosses are so accurate, almost like he's threading a needle. It feels a little unreal. It's not a matter of wondering where the ball will be. If he's the one handling it, the ball will always be at the perfect place for you to spike. I might not be a volleyball player, but over the years where he's made me practice with him, I've experienced it firsthand. Shoichi's tosses are really godlike. Aww, now you're just exaggerating. Why are you even blushing in the first place? No, wait. Yuichi-san, are you sure you're not just being partial to him because he's your friend? It was your idea to involve him in the first place. Now suck it up. You're having way too much fun with this. But... No putts. I win. Keisuke sighs. Is it bad for me to say that seeing his brow twitching like that is a little amusing? Fine. You win this time. I'll get back at you for this later, Irada. Keikun shoves the rest of his clothes in his bag, picking it up and stomping out of the locker room. Sheesh, what's his problem? You are! Could you stop starting fights with him? It's incredibly annoying having to deal with the messes you make. I make messes? Since when? As far as I know, Urujihara was also involved. We both know you're the one provoking these fights in the first place. Please stop trying to act innocent. Sheesh, what's gotten into you? You are usually more fun than this. Forgive me for not being enthusiastic after having to deal with my two nearly adult friends having a 5th grade argument. Hey. There's no reason to be acting so serious. Lighten up a bit. Hiya. This guy. Even when I'm lecturing him on something, he still cannot take me seriously. Sometimes I wish the serious business-like Shoichi that always shows up when he's working would make an appearance during everyday activities too. Well, I guess I've pestered you enough for now. Time to head back to my practice. You've pestered me enough for an entire week. Aw, don't be like that. Well, anyway, talk to you later. See ya. These two are a real handful. Are they really high school students? Feels like I've been warped back to grade school. Wait, did Shoichi even get permission to bail out on practice for so long? He was already late to begin with. I'd rather not think about it. Well, what do I do now? It's true that I haven't done much today, at least when it comes to practice. But on the other hand, dealing with those two idiots has left me thoroughly exhausted. I think I'll just call it a day and head home. Come to think of it, wasn't I going to do that even before they interrupted me? Yeah, I guess I might as well stick with it. Better tell Saya before I leave, though. I'm starting to think I should have done a better job of wiping myself dry. Not that it matters since I'll be heading home soon. And I don't really smell bad. My deodorant was pretty strong, so I doubt anyone could smell anything over it. I'll just grin and bear this damp feeling. Where's Saya, though? There she is. Keikun's there, too. He seems a bit tense. What are they talking about? Keikun is the first to notice me approaching. His eyes widen when he sees me. He's totally avoiding looking at me. He bows to Saya as if he were apologizing for something, and then promptly leaves. Saya stares at his fleeing figure completely slack-jawed. What was that about? Just then, she seems to finally take notice of me, and her eyes light up. Yuichi-kun. That was a great match you two had. It really had my heart racing. Wish I could watch you play more often. Why don't you start watching my tournament matches more often then? I'd like to, but we always end up scheduled for matches at the same time. And yours are always over before mine. Saya bites her lip, looking over at the door to the locker room again. Say, do you know if anything's happened to Keisuke? He was looking a bit uncomfortable. Doesn't he always? Nothing much. I just diffused another Shoichi situation. Another one? They're almost adults already. They really should behave more like it. Look who's talking. That's not what I came over to talk to you about, though. Oh? What's up, then? I'm headed out for the day. Just then, her smile freezes in place, almost as if she were expecting me to add a "just kidding" to the sentence. Could you please not react so dramatically to everyday news? You're kidding me, right? Can't you stick around for a bit longer? Practice is only going to run for 2 more hours! Hey, I did my part. I played in that stupid match even though I didn't want to. You can't possibly need me for anything else. Saya looks up at me with pleading eyes. There's something else you want, isn't there? So transparent. I was hoping you could stick around to instruct the new players. Pretty please. I've managed to do my own practice because I keep having to help the others. I don't want to be a poor sport, but you knew this would happen when you took the position of captain. Come on. You know what our coach is like. Well, that's true. But I just thought, since you're the vice captain and all... So she wants to force me to do the work she initially agreed to do under the excuse that I'm the vice captain, even though she's the one that forced me to take the position in the first place. What's the one thing I made you promise when I accepted this position? She continues to stare at me, but the smile on her face is disappearing ever so slowly. Wasn't it you who said all I had to do was make sure the other club members followed the rules, and other than that, I was free to do whatever I wanted? Yeah, but wasn't it also you who said that my own training would take precedence over whatever it was I had to do for the club? Sure, but isn't resting after a particularly tough training session also a very important part of practice? She's biting her lip in frustration. I feel a bit bad for not letting her speak, but knowing her, she just used this as a chance to guilt trip me into helping, and I'm not dealing with that right now. Saya-chan sighs, her whole body slumping forward as she pouts. Fine, I understand. You can go. And you're not going to use this against me in the future? She looks away, biting her lips. Aha! Caught you! No, I won't. I did promise to let you do as you please. Victory! I guess I better get back to it then. Hard to see someone beckoning me over. See you tomorrow. See ya. Knowing her, I better leave before she has a change of heart. Once I step out of the training building, the warm orange-colored sun rays touch upon my skin. Feels really good.
Number 1 victory royale, yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down. 10 kills on the board right now, just wiped out Tomato Town. My friend just got down. I revived him, now we're heading southbound. Now we in the Pleasant Park Street. Look at the match. Go to the mark sheet. Take me to your Xbox to play Fortnite today. You can take me to Moist Mire, or not, like I really want to. Jog with you. We could be pro Fortnite gamers.
It feels really good. The orange-tinted sky looks so gentle and mild. Today really is a beautiful day. There you are. Oh? Eh? I hear a nearby voice and reflexively turn around. I've seen it so many times. I hear a nearby voice and reflexively turn around. Oh? Standing before me are 3 of my classmates. Jin? Gin? Rep? The fox smiles at me. Her smile is warm and kind. Almost the same as this afternoon's sun. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. She makes me feel at ease. What a coincidence, Ichi-kun. I was just looking for you. For me? What could you possibly need for me? Wait, it's not bad news, is it? She softly giggles, crossing her arms. That's right. Her name is Ayako Kitsunegawa. She is our class president this year once again. Why did I know it so well? I saw it so many times on TikTok, and I don't know. I like to do the weird thing with my voice, you know, just go high pitched and weird. She might seem like the common collected type, but she is very much a bona fide sadist. But those personality quirks aside, she's usually a very caring and responsible person. Most of us have been in her care since our freshman year. To be honest, there have been very few changes to our class since we joined this school. Other than Shoichi being bumped up to the advanced class, that is. I'm sure, but I just might be the bearer of bad news. I've been sent here on official business. I should have guessed. You never come to me when it's good news. Well, now that's a bit unfair, isn't it? Despite dreading whatever news she might be about to give, her laugh certainly makes me feel less anxious. But, not to be a negative Nancy, but aren't you here on official business? Then, what are these two doing here? Honestly, same. Fuck. What? These two? And after we went through all this trouble to track you down, we had club work to attend to too, you know? Ha. Jin sure is rowdy even this late in the afternoon. Don't mind him, Yuichi-kun. We were actually heading home early when we bumped into Ayako-chan. She asked us to keep watch of the exit to the men's locker room while she went in through the other side. Nissan, don't blab on me, Tim. Also, since when do you call her Chan? That makes sense. Since this used to be an all-boys academy up until a few years ago, not all the buildings have been retrofitted to accommodate female locker rooms. Originally, the tennis volleyball courts actually had the 2 lockers on separate ends of the building to separate the different clubs. I don't know what my range is. I genuinely don't know what I am. But now the guys and girls of both clubs share lockers instead. And doors were built into the locker room so they could access both courts. Ah, I see. So you're going to work as a glorified doorman while the rep went into the girls' locker room to look for me, huh? What? No, it's not like that. Well, doesn't he like to sound important? Class rep giggles again. She hasn't said anything and just settled into watching these 2 bicker. Didn't you bring them along in the hopes that she'd get to see this very same situation unfold? What? She really is a sadist. By the way, these 2 guys in front of me might not look like it, but they're actually twin brothers. The large one, Genichiro Nezumiro, is the eldest of the 2. He's much more mellow and easy to deal with than his brother, but despite this all, he can be really intense when it comes to food. His other, Genichiro Nezumiro, is definitely one of the rowdiest people I've ever met. He's slow, dim, and has a short fuse. But despite these shortcomings, the 2 of them are genuinely nice people, and I definitely enjoy spending time with them every now and then. So, class rep, what exactly did you come here to tell me? Ah, that's right. Sorry, I was having so much fun watching this atmosphere that I forgot. I'm sure you were purposefully staying out of it so you could watch them bicker for a while longer. To be honest, Katsuragi-sensei asked me to come fetch you. She didn't tell me exactly what's going on, but it was something about today's morning assembly. Oh yeah, that's right. You skipped today again. I imagine she was probably pissed. I don't think she would have minded it so much if you actually bothered to show up to any of the meetings organized over the school year. Well, I can't help it. These are all so boring. That definitely sounds like something you'd say. Well, you shouldn't worry so much. I've done my best to smooth things over with her, so she's only a little annoyed now. Wow, really? That's so nice of you, class rep. Hey, it really is. How come you never try to smooth things over for me when I'm the one getting in trouble? Once you become an important asset to the school's reputation like Yuichi-kun, then I just might. Don't say that, Ayako-chan. It's not chan. Please refer to me as Kitsunegawa-san or class rep. You're kidding. I don't even get to call you by your first name. Even though her words might have sounded harsh, she has a wide grin on her face. No doubt about it. She's only doing this to tease Jin. And he's so dumb that he's falling for it. Jin, maybe we should head home already. I guess so. I've got a mountain of homework to do too. Oh my, a mountain? I don't remember being assigned any homework today. Well, that's because he slacked off last year and didn't actually finish all the credits he needed to pass, so he's having to deal with them now. Oh my! I'm surprised the school even allowed him to do that. What, Nissan? You don't have to tell her that much. These two sure are full of energy today. I didn't even realize how much I missed their attitude during spring break. How can I put it? Seeing them like this is kinda refreshing. I'm not all that surprised that he was given an extension though. Our school is pretty lax when it comes to people in the athlete programs. We got tons of exposure from them after all. We have some of the best teams in the country in multiple sports. Well, this was a fun little chat, but I should really get going to the faculty office, since this was probably just gonna get worse if I make her wait. That's probably a wise decision. Yeah, dude. It was an honor meeting you. Don't write me off just like that! Hey, Yuichi-kun, how about we grab a bite to eat together one of these days? Sure. Show me to another nice restaurant, and I'll take you up on that offer. Okay, it's a deal. Nissan, how come you're so buddy-buddy with Yuichi-san? Kinda jealous. I'd rather avoid this unpleasant encounter, but given that class rep was the one that was the one tasked with giving me the report, I'm sure there's no way I could go home without her reporting the fact that she managed to pass it along. In other words, I'm dead anyway. Might as well go peacefully. I walk into the main building. By the way, Other than the multiple minor buildings for the different athletic departments, our school is divided into 3 main buildings. There's a main building which, among others, houses the faculty office and the club rooms for the most high-profile clubs or the ones with the most expensive equipment. Then there's the classroom building. It's a much smaller building with only 3 floors, 1 for each of the grades. Over here in our school, each grade is divided from A to E, so we have 15 classrooms in total, 5 for each floor. The senior year is a little different in that the A class is specifically for advanced studies. That's where they house the most promising students and pass them along classes designed to prepare for college entrance exams and college life in general. Now, of course, joining 3A isn't mandatory, and there are always a few students that decline it. Class rep was also offered a spot with them, but she refused. This is something about wanting to see her duties as class representative to the end. Oh, and the third building is a club building. It's where most of the other club rooms are located. Our school is pretty well known in the country, and we have lots of people applying every year. Just getting in is quite difficult. Well, it goes without saying that I had no issues with our entrance exam. Some of the students in here might look like a bunch of good-for-nothings, but everyone needs to have some measure of intelligence to get in. Although I still have my doubts when it comes to Jin. Right ahead of me, walking over to the entrance, are 2 other classmates of mine. Ah! Kyoko-san. Ryoji. What are you 2 doing here? And, wait, why are you 2 together? The girl, Kyoko Nekonishi, fires a threatening glare at me. Despite her looks, she can be quite threatening when she wants to. Honestly, me. I swear to God. I could honestly see myself doing something like that. But of course, I'm close friends with Saya, so something at this level shouldn't even faze me. Excuse me, could you please not assume something so ridiculous? We just happen to be leaving at the same time. The other guy, Ryoji Kumagawa, doesn't even look like he's acknowledged us at all, even though he did stop walking when I called out to them. Ryoji? Is he ignoring me? Ryoji furrows his brow, staring even more intently at the gaming console on his hands. Yeah, that's true. Ryoji is a video game maniac, so he always seems to have a console in his hands. I swear sometimes I can look his way during class and he'll have a console hidden behind his textbook, as if he really thought such a thing could fool anyone. But despite that, he still gets consistently high grades, so the teachers never really complain about his attitude. Heading home. See, I never got away with that. I did a couple times. Just get away with having literally any sort of electronic device in school. School being the public education system, I never got away with it. Well, I did a couple times, but typically I never did. Ah, he spoke. Is he just feeling a bit shy? It's true that he doesn't tend to participate in conversation unless it's about video games. Were you just visiting your club rooms or something? Kyoko nods, a haughty smile on her face. She's always so prim and proper, but she tends to act all ladylike most of the time. Well, despite her distant attitude, she's not a bad person at heart. I've been made responsible for the fashion club this year, so I was just turning in all the required paperwork at the faculty office. Ryoji nods along too, dealing with paperwork for the game dev club. Wait, game dev club? We have one of those at school? Just as those words leave my mouth, Ryoji glares at me. Unlike Kyoko, having a 6-foot-tall brown bear glaring at you is a really frightening thing, and I can't help but feel a chill running down my spine. Yeah. Wait. Honestly, I'm really starting to think that Ryoji is my spirit animal. I'm starting to think he's my fucking spirit animal. Sorry, I swear I wasn't making fun of it or anything. That seems to appease him as his gaze softens up, looking back down at his game. Jeez, it's really not safe to walk around staring at a piece of hardware all the time, you know. What about you, Yuichi-san? Do you also have paperwork to deal with? Oh, wait, that would be right. I thought Saya-chan was the one in charge of the tennis club this year. Yeah, Saya-chan's heading the tennis club. I've been made vice captain, but really, I'm just along for the ride because she made me do it. Foo-foo. That really does sound like Saya-chan. Despite their completely opposite personalities, I've heard that Saya and Kyoko have become good friends since we met 3 years ago. Although Kyoko still spends most of her time around class rep. They've known each other since childhood, after all. Well, if it's not paperwork, then what are you doing here? There are no club meetings for us regular folk right on the first day of class, and your club doesn't even have a room here in the first place. Katsuragi-sensei sort of asked me to go meet her. Kyoko's expression immediately goes dark. Wow, what did you do to piss her off this time? Why do you assume I did something? Why did you just assume I did something wrong? This is what you're talking about. This is what we're talking about. You just have that quality that pisses off most teachers. Hey! I think so too. Ryoji nods, his eyes still on his game console. Don't just casually agree with her on that. Kyoko laughs. Even when she's casually goofing around, her mannerisms are incredibly refined. Well, she is the daughter of a pretty wealthy family. In fact, they actually own the school. Well, make sure to tell me the story behind it later. I'd love to hear what kind of punishment the old hag has cooked up this time. See you tomorrow. Don't say cruel things so casual. Oh, she's gone. She really is good at slipping away unnoticed. Is it a cat thing? Yeah, Ryoji is still here though. Hey Ryoji, what game are you playing right now? Moonfighter Rangers. Ah, that one game based on that children's anime? How many seasons does that thing even have? I think I remember it airing when I was 8. Ryoji nods casually, not bothering to confirm or deny what I just said. As always, making conversation with him can be hard. Is the game fun? He looks up at me with a conflicted expression. Hey, what's with that look? Shouldn't you be heading to see the teacher? You got into the fact that I was trying to stall. Yeah. You can be surprisingly perceptive at times, Ryoji. Unnecessarily so. Ryoji nods, pulling a piece of toast from his bag, munching on it. Wait. A piece of toast? From his bag? The hygiene implications of what I've just witnessed scare me a bit. See you tomorrow. Yeah. See ya. Off he goes. I'm jealous. I wish I could just walk away like that. I've walked all the way to the 3rd floor where the faculty office is located. I don't want to go in. But I know that if I don't show up soon, she'll only get angrier. Better get this over with. Kind of like ripping off a band-aid. Even though ripping off band-aids is incredibly painful for me because I always wind up ripping off a ton of fur too. Alright. I won't get anything done if I just stand around. Take a deep breath and the sound of my knock echoes through the empty hallway. My heart is beating really fast right now. Even though I've been skipping these things since the first day of class, this is the first time I've been called in because of it. Kind of just assumed I'd keep getting special treatment because of my status as a tennis player. Come in. Pardon the intrusion. She scares me. Like, just looking at her, she scares the shit out of me. It doesn't take much looking around to find Katsuragi-sensei. She's sitting on a chair, legs crossed and turned all the way to look at the door. She has her head leaning against her closed fist. She looks incredibly intimidating for a regular old woman. Michi-miya, I was wondering how long it would take you to show up. Just from her tone of voice, I can already tell that the situation is mostly hopeless. No, I'll still try to act dumb. Maybe that'll save me. I wish. Michi-miya-kun, you must know why it is that I've called you over, right? Well, to be perfectly honest, it's not as if I don't particularly know what kind of reason would lead you to decide against not calling me. You're talking in circles to try and confuse me now? That's cute, but it certainly isn't going to work. Sit. Yes, ma'am. Thoroughly defeated. We certainly appreciate the amount of exposure your name gives this school, and it's not as if you're doing badly with your studies either, given that you're always placing quite high in the school ranks. Yes, see, I'm doing pretty well, so let me finish. Yes, ma'am. Katsuragi-sensei sighs, picking up a folder that was on top of her desk and opening it up. Is that a file on me? I can see here that your academic records continue to worsen with each passing year. All of your teachers keep mentioning a continuing lack of interest on your part. And not only that, if I pull up your records from grade school and middle school, the drop is almost immediately apparent. Well, one can't live solely on past accomplishments, right? If that was the only reason for this drop, then I'd certainly let you off the hook. But we both know that's not the real reason, so maybe just cut to the chase. Scary! She's really scary! Katsuragi-sensei used to be our homeroom teacher up until last year, but she recently got a promotion and became the head teacher and coordinator for the school. So she doesn't have any classes to deal with this year, and instead oversees the progress for all the classes in the school. It's an unenviable position. Just thinking of the amount of work she must have already gives me a headache. If only you were trying hard, then I could forgive you for this. It's not as if a person can continue to excel for their entire life. Drops in productivity are to be expected. But you've completely stopped trying, haven't you? I've also spoken to your coach, and he's told me that you've completely stagnated when it comes to tennis as well. What do you know about it? Saki even bothers coming to I wasn't done talking. Yes, ma'am! Coach Mikado theorized that you've been going through a rough period caused by extreme stress due to all the expectations placed on you for the past 6 years. If that is the case, I'd very much like for you to see our school's psychiatrist and... With all due respect, but would that be obligatory? Well, no. We cannot force a student to see a psychiatrist unless he's deemed to be in direct need of psychological assistance. Then I'll pass. I'm fine on my own, thank you very much. I don't have any complicated problems like that. I'm just not interested in paying attention to class, that's all. She sighs again, rubbing the bridge of her nose with the furrowed brow. So you'll prefer taking full responsibility for your failures over letting someone help you deal with your situation? Given your talents, I imagined you would want to become a professional. That's... I can bring myself to confidently say that that's my plan. I'll let you off the hook this time. Huh? Why? Did you say that I've been doing all this on purpose, haven't I? Call it intuition if you will, but I don't believe punishing you for your lack of motivation will somehow help you to become more motivated. I stand up from my chair with a half jump, suppressing the urge to grab her in a tight hug. Thank you, Katsuragi-sensei! You really are much nicer than I gave you credit for. Of course. We have yet to discuss your punishments for skipping on this morning's assembly. The old fox smiles, looking up at me with a devious look. What? You didn't really think that I'd also give you a pass for willingly, and with full knowledge of your actions, skipping the assembly to welcome our newest students for the 3rd time in a row, did you? Of course not. The thought never even crossed my mind. I'm doomed. I end up being forced on cleaning duty for the next week as punishment for my actions. Considering everything I've done, I suppose I had it coming, but I really wish I had managed to go home free. Huh? What's this? Now that I think about it, I think I can hear something. It sounds like music, come to think of it. There's a music room nearby, isn't there? But I thought the only music club... But I thought the only music club still operating in our school was the Light Music Club. This sounds more like classical piano. Not that I know anything about music in the first place. It's just a feeling that I have. Is someone using it at this hour? It's almost 6 p.m. Guess I'm a little curious about it. Whoever it is, this person plays really well. Maybe this is a recording? No, but it's not coming from any of the school speakers. And the audio quality is too high. It really sounds like the real deal. Maybe I could go take a look. It certainly wouldn't hurt to take a peek. Oh! This is honestly the best place to stop. Yeah, we're gonna leave off here tonight. Ah! 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 I kind of want to know who it is, but we'll find out tomorrow. haven't seen it. I haven't seen Puss in Boots 2. But anyways. Stay safe. Have a good night. And I'll see you all tomorrow.